The rumor had floated around the urban exploration forums for years. An abandoned subway station deep beneath the city shuddered after a series of gruesome murders. The victims had one thing in common. Each one was found with a red clown nose. A ghost story, they said. A cautionary tale to keep explorers away. But for me, Mia, it was a kind of story that made perfect content for my YouTube channel. I stood at the entrance of Forgotten Station, my flashlight cutting through the stale, dark air. The graffiti-covered sign above the rusted gate read Carver Street, the name barely legible beneath layers of grime. My heart thumped in my chest, a mix of fear and excitement. "All right, guys," I whispered into my camera, the red light blinking. "Here we are, Carver Street Station. Urban legends say this place was closed down in the 80s after something terrible happened. But tonight, we're going to uncover its secrets." The silence in the station was oppressive, the kind that made you second-guess every creak and whisper wind. My boots crunched over broken tiles as I descended the stairs, each step echoing into the void. The air was damp and carried a faint metallic tang, like rust or blood. Shaking the thought away, I focused on the beams of my flashlight, which illuminated crumbling walls, old advertisements, and faded train schedules. It was perfect, a decrepit, eerie backdrop. I barely made it to the platform when the sound reached me. At first, it was faint, almost imperceptible, a high-pitched melody drifting through the tunnels. It was circus music. I stopped dead, my breath caught in my throat. It grew louder, its jaunty tune bouncing off the walls like it was alive. "It's just my imagination," I muttered, trying to convince myself as I kept the camera rolling. But as I panned across the empty tracks, something glinted in the darkness, a reflective surface far down the tunnel. I squinted. A train car? Impossible. There hadn't been a train on these tracks in decades. Curiosity outweighed my fear. I stepped closer, and as if on cue, the sound of the train wheels screeched into existence. A subway car, rusty but intact, crawled into the station, its headlights flickering. I froze, the camera trembling in my hands. The train doors hissed open, releasing a burst of cold, stale air. And then I heard it. "Mia." The voice was soft, a raspy whisper carried on the breeze. I whipped around, shining my flashlight into the empty car. "Hello." My voice cracked. No answer. The camera caught everything as I took a cautious step inside. The car smelled of mildew and something sour, like old garbage. Seats were ripped, and graffiti sprawled across the walls. In the center of the nearest seat lay a single bright red clown nose. I swallowed hard, the lump in my throat nearly choking me. This had to be a prank. Someone from the forums messing with me, right? But then the doors slammed shut. The sudden movement jolted me, and the train lurched forward. I stumbled, clutching a pole for balance. No, no, no. I ran to the doors, banging on the glass. Stop the train. The controls had to be at the front. I shoved past the rows of seats, making my way toward the operator's cabin. But as I approached, I saw it, a reflection in the grimy glass. A clown sat in the driver's seat, its pale face painted with a grotesque grin. I froze, my breath hitching as its hollow. Black eyes stared back at me through the glass. It didn't move, didn't blink, just sat there, its white-gloved hands resting on the controls. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice shaking. No answer. I tried to open the cabin door, but it wouldn't budge. My heart raced as I banged on it, the sound echoing in the confined space. And then the train lights flickered. The clown was gone. I spun around, flashlight whipping through the car. It was empty, just me and the shadows. But I wasn't alone. Footsteps echoed from the car behind me. Slow, deliberate, getting closer. I backed away, clutching the camera like a lifeline. The circus music started again, this time louder, distorted. A low, guttural laugh echoed through the car. I ran. I sprinted through the train, my flashlight bouncing wildly as I screamed for help. Every door I passed seemed to lead to another identical car. There was no end. The music grew louder, almost deafening. And then I saw it. Standing at the far end of the car, blocking my path. The clown. Its grin was wider now, its head tilting unnaturally to one side. It held the red clown nose in one hand and gestured to me with the other, a mocking wave. I stumbled backward, tripping over a torn seat. My camera clattered to the floor, still recording. "Stay away!" I screamed, scrambling to my feet. The clown took a step closer, its shoes squeaking against the floor. No, this can't be real," I whispered, but it was. The last thing I remember was its face, inches from mine, the black voids of its eyes swallowing me whole. Months later, the footage surfaced. My camera, found by a maintenance worker on an otherwise empty train, revealed the final moments of my exploration. The video ended with my screams, the train speeding endlessly into darkness. They called it the Banshee Fairgrounds. But to me, it was just another ghost story, another playground for my thrill-seeking. My friends bet I wouldn't spend a night there. Coward, they said, grinning like hyenas. I don't back down from a challenge, not even one steeped in local lore about vanished carnival owners and cursed grounds. So there I was, standing at the rusted gates of the fairgrounds just as the clock struck midnight. The air felt alive, though not in the way you'd want. It was thick, damp from the swampy town it bordered, and carried a faint scent of burned sugar and mildew. Shadows danced unnaturally under the silver light of the moon, teasing my nerves. The legends were clear. The owner, a man named Greaves, had supposedly made a pact with dark forces to ensure his carnival success. And it worked for a time. Crowds flocked to his attractions, but one night, everything disappeared. Greaves, his staff, even the visitors. What was left were rotting rides and the whispers of betrayal. Just one night, I whispered to myself as I pushed through the gate, the hinges wailing like banshees. My flashlight flickered in and out, casting fleeting glances at the towering Ferris wheel and decaying carousel. Then I heard it. Carousel music. The tune was hauntingly cheerful, rising and falling in discordant waves. My heart raced. Everyone swore the rides here were dead, their mechanisms rusted beyond repair. Yet, the carousel spun lazily, its painted horses gleaming in the moonlight as if freshly lacquered. I should have run, but curiosity and the bet anchored me. A faint crunch drew my eyes downward. I had stepped on a ticket stub. It wasn't the frayed, rain-soaked kind you'd expect in a place like this. It was pristine, golden, with my name printed in bold, black letters. Marcus. Chills crawled up my spine. Okay, I muttered, tried to laugh it off. Just some prank by the guys. But deep down, I knew they weren't clever enough for this. The fun house loomed ahead, its garish paint faded but still menacing. A sign above the door, peeling and cracked, read, "No mirrors lie." Against my better judgment, I stepped inside. The air shifted instantly, cold, damp, and oppressive. My reflection greeted me in a mirror to my left, though something was wrong. My face, normally confident, looked pale, gaunt, and afraid. The next mirror was worse. It showed me older, mid-30s maybe, with hollowed cheeks and sunken eyes. I was clutching something, a ticket like the one I found outside. I tried to laugh it off, chalking it up to some optical illusion. Just smoke and mirrors, I said aloud. But my voice sounded weak, hollow. The final mirror stopped me cold. An old man stared back at me. His clothes hung in tatters, his body hunched with age and despair. Deep lines carved his face, and his eyes, God, his eyes, were filled with an unbearable sadness. His bony fingers clutched the golden ticket that read, "No exit." My breathing quickened. "This isn't real," I whispered, but the reflection spoke. "It's real enough, Marcus." I stumbled back, nearly tripping over my own feet, and turned to find an exit. The door I came through was gone, replaced by another mirror. My younger self stared back, wide-eyed and terrified. I ran to the side, searching for any way out, but every corridor led me back to that same room. "Stop it," I screamed. My voice echoed, answered only by mocking laughter. Laughter that sounded eerily like carnival goers, though I was alone. A booming voice rang out, shaking the funhouse walls. The show must go on. The mirrors shattered simultaneously, shards flying toward me, but stopping inches from my skin, hovering midair. They reassembled, piecing themselves together into a massive, grotesque figure that towered over me. Its eyes burned with an unnatural light, and its grin stretched too wide, splitting its face unnaturally. "Welcome to the carnival, Marcus," it said, its voice a cacophony of whispers and screams. "We've been expecting you." I bolted. My legs felt like lead, but adrenaline pushed me forward. The corridors twisted and shifted, a labyrinth that obeyed the figure's will. Every turn brought me face to face with horrors, a Ferris wheel dripping with blood, carousel horses whose painted smiles widened into screams, a clown with empty eye sockets beckoning me forward. Finally, I burst into what seemed like the center of the fairgrounds. The rides were alive now, spinning and whirring with sinister glee. The Ferris wheel's cabins were filled with shadowy figures, and the carousel horses galloped in a grotesque dance. In the middle stood a ticket booth, pristine and glowing under a spotlight. A man stood behind the glass, his face obscured by a top hat. "Step right up, Marcus," he called, his voice dripping with mockery. "Claim your prize." I approached cautiously, my body moving as if on strings. The man tipped his hat, revealing hollow eyes and a skeletal grin. He slid a golden ticket toward me. "You've earned it," he said. "I don't want it," I shouted, backing away. "But you've already accepted." The ticket was in my hand. I don't remember taking it, but there it was, gleaming and warm to the touch. The words and no exit burned into my mind. The carnival erupted in laughter, the sound deafening. The man in the booth stepped out, his form shifting into something inhuman. Greaves, I realized too late, or what was left of him. "The cost of temptation is hidden, Marcus," he said, his voice echoing around me. "But the bill always comes due." The ground opened beneath me, and I fell, the ticket searing into my palm. Now I'm here, trapped in the carnival, my screams mingling with the ghostly laughter of those who came before me. The ride spun endlessly, fueled by our despair. And the show? It always goes on.